Thanks, Mark. That was really interesting in the whys of color. And now I'm going to talk a little bit about the hows. We're going to borrow a little bit of the storyline from Ralph Lauren and Polo to make our point about the impact of global color. So as Polo blue travels throughout the world, where people want a Polo blue experience, they can extract their brand color with through the travel with style and consistency. As the largest supplier of colored inks and pigments, we are concerned about how easily and effectively their blue can travel across the world, on the package, on the substrate, and throughout the experience. What we know from our work is that if you want to go through the market with a blue on 5 continents, you have to have a number of decisions to consider, including whether to use a large global converter or you'd rather use a local regional player. How are you going to maintain your brand consistency and color? How are you going to maintain a high level of packaging end-use application and fitness for use properties? And finally, how are you going to meet your high health and safety standard requirements for packaging? And it gets more complex. Anyone with access to the internet can connect and cross borders. We see, as Thomas Friedman said in his book, The World is Flat, that technology is flattening the world. Information is moving faster and more freely. Standards are moving from local to more global norms. So, how does all of this impact your color decisions? We know color is a key component of packaging. Globalization leads to many quandaries for the CPGs looking to embrace the concept. So how do you execute a brand color globally when there's all these variables going on? Let's find out. But first, we're going to take a little poll here. How confident are you that you will see the same color on your packaging across the world? You see your choices there. Please log in your results and we'll review those with you in a few moments. Here's the payoff. If you can master color on a global stage, the benefits will drop to your bottom line. How? There are several points. First, speed, with faster design to shelf. We know that color variation leads to multiple pre-pressed design iterations before approval. And reprints of jobs at the printer are costly, and it's the buyer's expense. Second is quality. Variations in color on your package creates the perception of poor quality. Third, cost savings. The financial results come from a reduction in pre-production press trials and on-press color approvals and fewer job reprints due to poor color rendition. And maybe the ultimate benefit, finally, is brand equity, increased brand equity. If your color is your brand, then managing your global color creates an asset that will impact your balance sheet. So by now it's probably clear that the designers, pre-press houses, suppliers, converters, and manufacturers all need a toolkit, a common language to keep Polo blue, blue. And the question is, how do we get a multidimensional solution so everyone can see it? I'm going to walk you through one of these solutions. Our global toolbox is comprised of fundamental principles, and I'm going to share some of those principles with you now. First, the first tool is color standards. Brand color standards need to be real, easy to communicate, and achievable, and created as a baseline. The second tool is the capability to communicate across the value chain. New players create a need to simplify the communication with a common color vocabulary. The third tool is complexity reduction. We talked about complexity earlier. Through ensuring the color standards are optimally used and checked throughout the workflow, we can reduce this complexity. Here's what that can look like. Traditionally, color adjustments that are made at press side are used to compensate for all the other variables that are going on in the workflow through the design, mechanical, and pre-press areas. In the improved process, the real color data is integrated earlier into the workflow, taking into consideration the substrate, the print process, the ink system. All these variables allowing for more accurate management of the brand's integrity and the designer's original vision. High standards for products produced in a global supply chain means that the brand has to keep its equity everywhere, as Mark indicated, and as Coca-Cola has done so well. The next tool in the toolkit is managing to end-use applications. What else is color on packaging? It's performance. Maintaining the color given the packaging application fitness for use. Like the example seen here, groundwork for Tractor Supply. A bag that needs to perform with outdoor exposure without losing color integrity. The next variable is the assessment of the variables. Working globally, that there are a wide variety, you can have a different impact on your project. You need to assess these variables early in the planning stage. We have developed a variables assessment tool. Those variables include access to pigment and color, the methodology used for color matching, the substrate and packaging structure, and the critical to quality standards, or CTQs. I'm going to just take a second here to review our poll results. Again, the question, how confident are you that you will see the same color on your packaging across the world? Well, it seems we have a lot of work to do because 70% of you said not very confident that we could do that. 18% not confident at all, and 12% said not sure. And now there is also the quality of the color itself. Quality is more important than ever because it literally has to travel and has to go everywhere, like Tiffany blue. And in some cases, it has to be resistant to its environment and the use, such that color quality is optimally maintained. Our final tool is a sustainable platform. It is important to have a supplier and a supply chain that is reliable, where everyone is unified, and where everyone in the value chain is enlightened and talking about the same polo blue, and a supply chain and suppliers who meet your high standards for health, safety, and environment. So, how do you embrace global color, your spot colors, your brand colors? You need all the global tools we discussed. We need color standardization, communication, complexity reduction, end-use application, variable assessment, color quality, and a sustainable solution.